Okay, I have one final question for you, and again, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the corner here and talking baseball because
Oh,
it's
happy to,
my
AJ. Yeah.
favorite thing. I stayed up last night to watch Pujols hit 700,
Oh man,
raising my arms and I was very excited
that's
for
fun.
him. Had my son up watching Judge's at bats last night, hoping that he would hit 61. He's 5; he doesn't really understand it at this point, but it was something my dad did in '98, so it was something
You
that I
bet.
wanted to do for him. Here's my final question to you. What is Scott Harris's biggest challenge this offseason? Is it Miggy, and what can he do?
Um, Cabrera is, diplomatically speaking, his biggest challenge, right? And I think they are going to come to an agreement between Cabrera, who again, whose pride does not really allow him to think about being less than the player he can be next year. So I think he, his agent, the doctors, and the Tigers will come to a mutual agreement that there's no point pushing this into 2023. Let's satisfy the contract financially. Tigers will have no issue there. And then let's have a big Miguel Cabrera Day next spring and make it a weekend festival and send him out right. As far as his other assignment, it's going to figure out how many people can I replace or how effectively with a minimum amount of trade chips. Now, I
Mhm.
will add this, AJ, real quickly. I think this offseason is not going to pose as many opportunities to deal as it will next summer when I think they're going to have a true stockpile of excellent pitching. And I think next July, with Scott Harris entering his first trade deadline, I think that could be fireworks for the Tigers.
Yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, I don't really even know what moves other than the non-tendering of certain players. Potentially in May, if Scope is still doing what he's doing, I could see him getting a, DFA or something to that
Yeah,
extent. But this offseason, I mean, looking at free agents, unless Correa opts out and they make a run at him, I, I don't really know what the moves are to be made other than maybe you know we forget that the Giants, since Harris has been there, has been able to identify veteran players who have gotten better.
right.
Kevin Gosman, I believe, is one of them, specifically pitching. Um, that they've been able, which is not the Tigers' lack right now, but so it'll be interesting to see, like you said, the moves and who he can replace effectively. Um, but not just player wise. I think there's going to be some coaches on the chopping block potentially as well. Um,
That's likely. I don't know that any GM would come in from the outside and not have uh, a fairly significant number of changes that he's going to make,
yeah,
both in terms of staff and, of course, primarily with the roster. He is going to be aggressive. I know that for a fact. And I think I'd play the over on any amount of deals that lead to a juggling of that roster going into 2023.
it would be a welcome sight for sure, especially when we talk about how bad roster construction has been. I mean, in our lineup, there's maybe two that would play on a playoff team right now. I could see maybe Riley Green coming off the bench, and I could see maybe Javi Baez doing something on a playoff contender. But other than that, I don't know who else in our lineup would be on a contending team.
I think you're
Uh,
right.
so it'll be interesting. Lynn, I am so thankful for you and your time to spend here on the corner with me. It went a little bit longer, but that tends to happen when we start talking about baseball. So
That's
I
right.
appreciate your time very much and you coming on and answering my questions about Scott Harris and what the last 7 years have been. It's my absolute pleasure to have you on the show.
I enjoyed the conversation, AJ. Anytime.